Say in your mind, say to yourself, I am more than my physical body. Because I am more than physical matter, I can perceive that which is greater than the physical world. I deeply desire to expand, to experience, to know, to understand, to control, to use such greater energies and energy systems as may be beneficial and constructive to me and to those who follow me. I deeply desire the help and cooperation, the assistance, the understanding of those individuals whose wisdom, development, and experience are equal to or greater than my own. I ask their guidance and protection from any influence or any source that might provide me with less than my stated desires.
I do not know all the answers to the questions about reality. I do not claim to know the ultimate truth about fire. I seek that which has been made hidden as a part of a family of explorers of consciousness. I am the void walker.
Welcome to Lighting the Void.
All broadcasting live from a shack on a hill in the mossy creek bottoms of Cane Creek, Arkansas. This is Lighting the Void live. It is July the 24th on a Wednesday. Trying to get the volume right. I don't know what happened with that other stream. I think I accidentally put that it was for kids, and then it turns the chat off. So when you do a stream on YouTube, by the way, if you're listening on the radio station, you should come over to YouTube. Call-in number for tonight is 501-777-5631. We're going to get into some astral travel stuff tonight. But I think when you select, it gives you an option on this like streaming software. Is it for children or is it not, right? And I think I selected that it was for children. And so, you know, it killed the chat. I wasn't blocking anybody or anything like that. No blocking here on the fringe. We might tell you to piss off or be nice, but we usually just don't block. I don't block, not the chat. So what's up, Barefoot Gypsy? Jess Rogi from Escape the Simulation Radio also airs here on the Fringe FM. Sir Wolf, Domek hitting the road out there. What's up, brother? I thought tonight, doing a show 4 nights a week is cool, and it helps me too, not just you guys. It helps me to express myself because I'm by myself out here in the shack. I'm in my head all the time, so getting to talk to you guys is pleasant. It's really cool. But the interaction of the readings, that's even better. So for everybody that's gotten a reading, thank you. Nancy, yours is next. So I'm going to knock out some of these recordings. I got some to do tomorrow. And if you guys want a reading, they're 70% off right now. We do the old traditional readings for the summer sale. And I'm leaving a Calendly link for you to book. You can book whatever time suits you on there if it's available. And you can see that link in the YouTube descriptions in the past videos. All right. So I want to get into astral travel here. Now that we got that out of the way and those people out of the way that don't want anything to do with us. I find it best to promote yourself right off the bat. So you can you can see what's up. I found this book. Now this is not going to be like extensive and glorified words and all this other stuff. This is a really cool book, but I got some questions about this stuff. So when it comes to astral travel, I'm starting to realize that everybody has their own opinions on the matter, or what they think astral travel is, or what its purpose is, and all this other stuff. So I'm surfing around on the internet today to try to find something, that tickles my fancy that I want to talk about tonight. And I stumbled upon this book from a website called Legacy Utopia. Now, keep in mind, this is a Wiccan site. These are witches, I think. I'm not saying the person that wrote this book is a witch. I don't know. But they talk about astral travel. So let me tell you the name of this text. Some of the stuff that they're going to talk about. It's called Astral Travel. This thing was written in the 80s. It's Your Guide to the Secrets of the Out-of-Body Experience by Gavin and Yvonne Frost. Have any of you guys ever heard of this book? If you have, shout it out in the chat. If not, whatever. So when I looked at the, or call in too, please, 501-777-5631. I'd rather hear your voice, honestly. But when I looked at the table of contents, when I looked at the table of contents, it's like, enjoy this new occult frontier, astral dreaming, Twilight Zone astral travel, keyed meditative states, anywhere, anytime astral travel, the here and now, space-time continuum, the spiritual realms. And I don't know why this book is intriguing me, but it says Liz and Bert Davis, the couple who have everything, the secrets of the grimoires, and healing and helping with astral projection, the selfish use of astral travel, and serenity through astral knowledge. So this got my attention. I haven't read this book. I don't know what it's about. So I figured we could have a discussion. We could go through it and talk about it. There is a lot of people on the internet talking about astral travel right now, by the way. Just people spitting out formulas about it, talking. I could tell some people haven't really done it. They're just kind of doing it for, the traffic on the short videos and stuff. But the fascination about it is getting bigger, right? That's a good thing. All right. So we'll get into the introduction. And yes, I'm going to have some opinions on this. What's up, Angela? It's good to see you. Angela and Michael Domek. Some of my two favorite people there, too. So when did you last have, this is how it starts out. When did you last have that tantalizing experience of having been here before? It happens to everyone. The barely remembered fragment of a dream suddenly takes on form and substance. That happens to me all the time, actually. It is real, but how can such a thing be? This book, in plain, simple language, will show you how to remember dream experiences and use them to gain understanding, peace, and serenity. During the past decade, remember, this came out in 1982, during the past decade, more than 1,000 people have been involved in this research. From their tens of thousands of reports has come this small volume. The long years of research and cross-correlation of results have culminated in the simple instructions that are contained herein. People from all walks of life, some barely literate, others renowned scholars, have banded together in this selfless effort to push back a final occult frontier of inner space. They're talking about it like it's Star Trek, right? Inner space, the final frontier. I'm loving it so far. Centuries of fear, ignorance, and suppression have now given away before the inquiring minds of the dedicated people who make up this research team. In England, they still work under the pseudonym of the Canterbury Institute. Have you guys ever heard of this before? Why am I just now hearing about this? For even today, many of the scholars fear for their reputation and standing in the community if their involvement in occult research were to become known. The only way fear and suppression can be overcome is by the expansion of knowledge. I agree with that. That's why we encourage you to take part and report on your own experiences. The analysis of the team member reports show that the Colonel Ladies and Rosie O'Grady, in the words of the old song, really are the same under the skin. Not only that, they have the same astral travel experiences. In every case where researchers' results fell outside the general range of experiences, The deviant results came from people who had extensively studied the subject beforehand and had formed hard and fast preconceived notions of what to expect. Because the research was done cold by most of them, and a whole range of new phenomena, heretofore unreported, was encountered and cross-correlated between the members of the team. Well, that's the only way to do it, right? Imagine if we all were doing like astral travel experimentation. You know, how many people are here right now? 11? So 11 counting me, 12 of us. And we were all like, I don't know, deciding, okay, we're gonna astral travel. We're going to get out of body. And then we're just going to report what happens. And then we could come back and report what happens to each other and then start doing experiments. This is what I really want to do. Of course, I don't have the money to do like a Monroe Institute or a Canterbury Institute or anything like that, but this is what needs to happen. Real, raw, conscious exploration, right? So reading recent texts on the subjects of astral travel discloses no mention of these phenomena, though, as you will see, ancient writings support the existence and the authenticity of our modern findings. Some of the more interesting discoveries are, here's some discoveries. Number 1, that hell does not exist. Despite many attempts by each of the researchers in turn, it was not possible to go to any recognizable area of spiritual torment. Upwards and onward, yes, everyone could reach those realms, but downward, back into negativity, no. Okay, so I'll say this, not to say that there's a hell, I'm not saying that at all, but what I am saying is that there is like a darker place that you could go to where it's a little bit more depressing if you want to go there. All right. The second thing that they're talking about here is zonal time. So in thousands of astral projection cases, it has been found that you cannot project to specific time zones, but instead you can project only what might be called overlap points between our present reality and future and past realities. I got to look into this. If any of you guys are like listening on the computer, look up and let me know if this is a legit place. It's called the Canterbury Institute. I think it's in England. All right, so the next section here, distortion of reality with time. Your great-grandfather's whatever picture is fading away, but in the same manner, when you travel into previous time zones, your perception of the scene fades in the midst of the past. And conversely, as you move forward into the future, the scene's constituents intensify. Sounds and colors grow more harsh and more bright until eventually they become so strident as to be painful. So what she's talking about is time travel here in the astral realm. I cannot verify this. I can barely, to be honest with you guys, man, I can barely travel outside this planet, or much less outside my neighborhood. So some of these people that are claiming to time travel into the past and into the future, I have no doubt that maybe somebody pulled it off. But I'm thinking maybe Monroe was the only person, but he didn't travel into the past or future. He traveled into the present and into a different life, almost like he was in a separate reality, but it wasn't in the past or the future. Maybe it is, man. Who knows? We're not going to know this stuff for sure without experimentation, though. You check it out, Sir Wolf, the Canterbury Institute? Huh. We got to get somebody on from there or something. Okay, so the next part is reality control. Your ability to affect events varies with the time zone that you're in. When you astral project into the now, you'll find that you may be able to turn the page of a book, but you cannot lift the book. What? Is she talking about physically? You have no power to affect history, but much power to affect events in the future. Well, that would be really cool if we could do that. The Awakening Project. I got to check that out. So she's not talking about physically lifting a book. It's a metaphor. She's saying that you can turn the pages and observe into the past and future, but you can't change anything, I guess. Huh. All right, so the Canterbury Institute researchers call the other side of the invisible barrier simply the side. Yeah, and in Stranger Things, they call it the upside down world, right? So the ancient Irish called it the city, And in some ways, sight is comparable to heaven. However, most clergy, not having visited it, are unable to convey its actuality to you. So after we go through this, we're supposed to be able to visit the realm for ourselves, for it's a real place that you can explore with equanimity and confidence. Yeah, okay, that I can confirm. The astral realm is real. All right, so these are but a few of the concepts never before made public. Yeah, in the 80s. No, Monroe's book came out before this one, I think, his first one. When you begin to apply them in your life, they will enlarge your understanding of the marvelous cosmos in which we all exist. The files at the Canterbury Institute and at the School of Wicca contain thousands of letters from researchers who felt the impulse to write and thank the team for the unexpected, yet very real benefits that the participants gained. So she's talking about the Awakening Project. Sir Wolf, is that what she's talking about? Like there was this big experiment at the Canterbury Institute. Okay. Typically of these letters is a note received from the Irma Beach in Frankfurt, West Germany. So here's a letter from a lady that went through this experiment, a very short notation. I've never before experienced such serenity and tranquility. Being an elderly woman, 83 years old, I was very worried about what was awaiting me when I died. Now I know. I have no more fear. In fact, I'm quite looking forward to my transition into the realms of light. I no longer cling to my great-grandchildren, for I know that I will be able to see them forever. I pray every day that your great work will be able to proceed. Damn, that's pretty deep, man. Elderly people don't lie about much too, because when you get to that age, you're just like, screw it, you know. I love old people, man. For the most part, I really do. I hope I live to be 83. Would that all could be so sure of their future? If they were, the world would be better for it. So the start of this, and again, this book is called, I love, man, even the books in the 80s are better, right? Like the movies are better from the 80s. A lot of the books from the 80s are better. This book is called Your Guide to the Secrets of Out-of-Body Experiences by Gavin and Yvonne Frost. And this is for journalistic research purposes, right? So it's fair use. So don't come at me. We're a conscious exploration YouTube channel, damn it. Chapter 1 is Enjoy This New Occult Frontier. In the agonizing moment that seemed to last forever, the moment before the train hit me. Well, now you got my attention. I finally realized this was a serious experiment. Question upon question raced through my astral consciousness. Were Gavin and Yvonne really reliable? Did the Canterbury Institute and the Church and School of Wicca know what they were doing? Was the train going to kill me, or would I come off unscathed? What the hell is she talking about? Oh, you had another look at it and it was a college course for kids? Nothing to do with astral? All right. Thanks for the update. Maybe this thing isn't around anymore. So was the train going to kill me, or would I come off unscathed as they had promised? So was I crazy to place my trust in people I'd never met, and in some rather glib statements in some lectures I had received through the mail? A few moments later, I knew that everything was all right. Yes, the train hit me, and my astral body went on a curving upward course through the engine, the tender, and the first freight car. What the hell? The impact was slight, just as been promised. I was light as a feather, and now I was floating above the train with confused memories of moving mechanical parts, gauges, a tank of diesel fuel, interspersed with lots of free space. I guess she got hit by a train and her astral body flew through the engine, basically, right? So this experience gave me the confidence to go further into the realms of astral travel, and now I believe I've explored all this except the outermost realms of time and the uppermost spiritual domains. I cannot thank you, the people at the Canterbury Institute, or other workers, enough for having added these new dimensions to my life. I am a Christian, still firmly committed to my faith, and many things I have seen and done have led me to a new understanding of the meaning of the Bible and of Jesus. That's pretty cool. I like to kind of see that, right? Because this is a Christian lady that went to an institute that's run by Wiccans or witches, I guess, or partly witches, and still had the open mind to check it out. I can never express my gratitude for all that you've done for me, and I wish you well. May the bonds between all religions grow in love. Oh, man, that's cool. The foregoing is an extract from a letter written by a paraplegic veteran. Okay. And once he was on the verge of suicide because he was, he thought, condemned for the rest of his natural life to sit in a wheelchair and be tended by others. Astral travel added a new dimension to his life, a dimension where he spends as much time as he can while his body remains in its wheelchair. See, this is what Gareth wants to do. This is why he's into it. In addition to the extensive experimental work this man has done for us many times, he has added comments such as, quote, if only people knew the truth. If only people would experiment as I have done. Not only would they lose their fear of the astral realms, but they would also have a far more serene life and lose their fear of death and dying. Imagine that. That's a good thing to like, yeah, this is cool. I'm liking this so far. You can follow our friend into the astral realms, and at the time of writing, even more subjects are conducting experiments for us, and that way are contributing to this work. We believe that the instructions we give here are the most comprehensive and the easiest to understand and follow that have ever been offered to the public in the 80s. They are not the result of one or two people by chance or just a few astral trips. They are the result of a large body of trained subjects working with conscious intent for a common end. That's what I want, man. The participants come from all walks of life and from all nations of the free world. You can astral travel too. You can do it without fear, for no one in all the thousands of letters and reports that we have on file has ever reported any difficulty. Well, that sounds a little too good to be true, but all right. This is intended as a practical guide, a book you can use to follow others to the astral. We recommend that you first read it through to get the general gist and meaning. Then, and most importantly, you should read it a second time and try out the instructions contained in each chapter before proceeding to the next. All right, so should I go on with this? Are you guys interested in this one? It's like a list. You know, when you're reading about the Kabbalah, that seems more like a freaking history. That's like history. Let me think, like history class in school. I mean, all that stuff, you got to learn it, and it's a lot. It's just so much that you start to want to take a nap. Yeah, I'm going to get into this. Let's see what they say. All right, so reevaluating ancient knowledge. The pyramids and the Sphinx of ancient Egypt bear witness to the greatness of the civilization that existed in those far-off days. In Egypt was found the Rhine papyri. On the papyri are inscribed from ancient days all the degrees of latitude from the equator to the North Pole. And with today's modern satellite equipment, we find that the Egyptians' knowledge of the planet far surpassed anything that they could have been expected to know from the apparent state of their science. Yeah, I believe they knew that stuff because they were astral traveling. Some people believe they knew that stuff because they had like technology that I guess just disappeared. The ancient Mayans produced a calendar more accurate than one we use today. The Mayans were able to chart the progress of the planets to an accuracy better than the 1 day in 6,000 years. Of better than 1 day in 6,000 years. Is that true? Only since the invention of the atomic crystal clock have modern scientists been able to improve very slightly on the accuracy of the Mayan calendar. I think that's true. Other cultures in South America also had astounding knowledge and skills, and the monumental structures and city buildings made from cut stone by the Incas on the top of mountains are a well-known enigma that remain to be explained. Modern construction equipment would have been difficult in duplicating the work of the Incas. So in viewing those mountain sites, modern contractors shake their heads in wonder and amazement, and despite a millionaire's offer of funding, no contractor has yet been found who would attempt to duplicate the work. To the north, the Incas, Aztec brothers, were pyramid builders. The base measurements of the Pyramid of the Sun near Mexico City are identical to the base measurement of the Great Pyramid of Giza in Egypt. In England, ancient people built great stones or megalithic monuments to a very exact measure, which astroarchaeologists call the megalithic yard. And this measure is based on the foot, which is not as many supposed, derived from the anatomy of some long-dead king, but is instead an astronomically perfect measure. Where's she going with this? Something about astral travel, whatever. There are many other common beliefs shared by peoples who were separated from one another by thousands of miles. Various theorists have propounded different hypotheses for the very sophisticated scientific knowledge displayed by ancient peoples. In recent years, the ancient astronaut theory has received a bunch of attention, and in our opinion, there may indeed have been ancient astronauts. However, astral travel seems to us to be a far easier way for knowledge to have been transmitted from one ancient civilization to another. Guys, did you ever, I don't know if it's on YouTube, but maybe you can go on the podcast feed, but if you go back and you listen to, or at least try to find, Danny Wilton's work, that was the trippiest stuff I'd ever seen. Right, so the pyramids and the Nile and this whole thing is diagrammatically the same to the nebula of Orion. This is what Danny Wilton found out. So he's an analyst. I think that's his profession, or was. And so he put paper to it, and graph paper to the nebula, and then graph paper to the Nile and the pyramids and everything. And everything was an exact match, almost as if the Egyptians, or even nature, made it that way, which is really weird, man. It's like looking at the programmer in outer space and then having it being programmed on the Earth. It's trippy. I'll have to go back and find that. We can talk about that later. All right, so what's your theory on this? It is our premise that this knowledge came from astral guidance and that the people involved knew the realms where they could contact higher beings and get information from them. In support of this theory, ancient Egyptian writings clearly show that they had knowledge of astral travel and that in healing they regularly separated the patient's consciousness from their mundane body so the patient would feel no pain while healing was being accomplished. Thus, astral projection seemed to have been an ancient universal experience important enough to be recorded in early writings. During the Middle Ages, men began to scoff at astral experiences, such experiences were not sanctioned by state-controlled religions. Yeah, they hung you for being a witch for talking about that stuff back in the day. At about the same time, Eastern meditation was changed. No longer was the meditator allowed to float free or astral project. Instead, he was ordered to concentrate on a single mantra. Later in scientific Western countries, astral experiences were laughed at and then ruthlessly suppressed by the new, educated, rational middle class. Because of the worldwide suppression of those experiences, the source of infinite knowledge available to the ancients was lost to us. I think Manly P. Hall kind of talks about that too. Only in the last decade or so, with the new legitimacy of astral travel and its scientific testing by such people as Dr. Charles Tart of the University of California at Davis, has it become acceptable. Why is she saying this, man? Like, Monroe wrote his first book before this book came out, so maybe they didn't read it. Or maybe they hadn't read it before it came out. So with the aid of this text, you can tap into the knowledge that enriched the life of the ancients. Astral knowledge, which can be of vital importance in your growth today. Do not try to evaluate astral travel with logic, for if you do, you'll miss the whole point. The astral reality is not necessarily a logical plane in terms of the physical world, so we urge you to try the experiments we suggest. Experience controlled astral travel for yourself. Expand your awareness, then judge the results for yourself. Oh, man. All right, so the lighthearted side of astral travel. So astral projection, or more simply, letting your spirit travel without your body, is one of the most useful and entertaining skills you can ever learn. You can watch others in their daily lives, facing and overcoming problems. What? You can learn what other people honestly think of you. All right, this is getting shady right off the bat, right? You can find out what really happened in history and what is to happen in the future. All right, okay, so show of hands in the chat. If you could astral travel, be honest with me. Would you travel around to see what other people are saying about you? Like, if you could, would you do that? This seems like an awful waste of time. Like, who cares, man? What is the other one she said? You can watch others in their daily lives facing and overcoming problems. That's a real nice way of saying you can invade other people's privacy. You can learn what other people honestly think of you. Yeah, I'm with Jess. No, I ain't got time to worry about what people are saying. They usually don't. Barefoot Hippie says, no, what other people think about me is none of my business. Is that what remote viewing? It sounds like remote viewing, right? Like, one of the last things, I'm not saying it wouldn't be cool, I guess. Maybe if I was 16, yeah. I mean, if you could go out of body, go anywhere, hover above anybody's conversation, like, why do you want to do that? I could do that. Like, I would do that if I was worried about, and trust me, I think we should, like, putting the government in check and seeing what they're up to, or the military, or that kind of thing. Because this is where I have questions about this, all right? If this is true, what she's saying, and with all these people, again, the out-of-body experience is real, okay? But to the extent of what people are saying, I'm not so sure. If this was real, wouldn't somebody actually know already what's going on? Like all of the hidden stuff? Wouldn't at least one witch or one astral traveler or one person come back and say, hey, man, I traveled to, I don't know, Senator so-and-so's house, and this is what they were saying? Just one report. Robert Monroe was the only person that I ever read that tried that. Like, he tried to astral travel to talk to the president, and there were guards surrounding the president in the astral realm. But at least he reported it, Folks, listen to me. If you get out of body, do yourself a favor. Don't go trying to figure out what, invading people's privacy or trying to figure out what they're saying about you. Like, yeah, they maybe they do all have astral guards. I don't know. It's so high schooly. It's kind of like girly, So in their private lives, people do the most amazing and amusing things. Dude, this person is like watching folks, man. Listen, in their private lives, people do the most amazing and amusing things. The serious, staid pillar of the community is often one of the most relaxed people you could ever wish to meet when he's on his own. People have to relax sometimes, and it seems that those who are the most uptight, the most self-conscious on the outside, are the most amusing when they're off guard. Well, that's natural. Anybody could say that. You don't have to. I don't believe this right here. You can see life as it actually is. You can have great fun taking the starch out of your local vicar, perhaps by commenting in an offhand way on his most private and amusing habits. Dude, this is some power-hungry stuff right here. They're talking about it like it's no big deal. It's just kind of fun. This is like people that do this stuff because they want power, or maybe they are worried about what other people think. The bank manager who's giving you a hard time over your loan will be infinitely more relaxed with you if you can talk to him about his favorite hobby. You will not only know what his hobby is, but will also know exactly how he feels about it. This is creeping me out, man. So have any of you ever had someone like astral travel, or you saw somebody spying on you? I did once, I think. I swear on everything. It's kind of a personal story, but I got that vibe one time. So I was with all right, I'll just say this so you can kind of get what I'm saying here. I was with a person in a hotel room. This wasn't long ago. And I swear on everything, I sat up in the bed and saw somebody just walk right through the door with the door shut. And I mean, it was enough that made my heart speed up when I saw it. And I told the person I was with, I was like, man, somebody's just walked through the door. Right? And she was like, yeah, I felt something too, but I didn't see anything. I said, no, I saw it, but then it went away. That's creepy. Please don't spy on people if you're astral traveling. Jesus. Start protecting yourselves or something. You may doubt this startling claim, but you can prove it for yourself tonight. Demand an answer from your mind to a question whose answer you cannot possibly know. Was it her husband? No. It was her ex, though. I thought it was her ex, but I don't really know who it was. It was somebody in a white shirt. I don't mess with married people, Wolf. Or at least the ones they tell me they're not married. I've never blatantly done that with a girl that's like, yeah, I'm with somebody else, and this is just for fun. I've never done that. Usually it's been I don't know why I'm talking about that. Now I'm freaked out, man. I'm freaked. People are going to be watching me in the astral realm. Demand an answer from your mind. This is how we're supposed to do it. No, I don't do that stuff. I know how that feels. Demand an answer from your mind to a question whose answer you cannot possibly know. The question could be as simple as, what type of house does this person live in? And having picked this person at random from the telephone directory. What the fuck? No, people watching Indigo get lost in nature. Yeah, man. This is the first part of the book. They're just jumping right out and trying to sell you on this. Hey, we did all this experiments. Ancient knowledge talks about astral travel, and you know what you could do? Right off the bat, you could go check out what people think about you and go spy on people. It does seem kind of fun though, right? It's a no-no. Just for just maybe a little peek, and then that's it. But I'm too scared to do stuff like that. I always think that you're going to get some kind of karmic backlash, you know. They're talking about it like it's nothing. The deja vu having been here before experience is another common way you can prove to yourself that you have genuinely had astral travel experiences. In most deja vu cases, you get the feeling just before you enter a room or go around a corner. Write down what you think you're going to see or tell someone about it. Then walk around the corner. Now you can prove that you actually have been there before. And since in many cases it was totally impossible for you to have been there in the body, you have proved once again that astral travel is real. Is that really proving it, though? You've already spontaneously astral traveled during sleep, but now, through following step-by-step instructions, your trips can be directed instead of just random trips. In other words, useful instead of pointless. So we want to show you in these texts how to control and use the previously unplanned trips. Here's 2 life and death cases. We have many files and many documented cases of people who effortlessly learned to astral travel. Some of these people became students because of the vivid but unexplainable things that happened to them. Unexplainable, that is, in terms of their orthodox religious background. Here are 2 cases in which astral projection meant the difference between life and death. Case 1, Harry J. Harry J. Harry J. is a Missouri farmer, and on his land there are many limestone cave formations. One day his 12-year-old son persuaded Harry to take him into one of the caves. Neither Harry nor Bucky knew very much about speleology or the science of cave exploration. They just grabbed a couple of torches and a rope and went off down into the caves. Then they got lost. They had no compass, and pretty soon the batteries in their torches began to fail. Wisely, they sat down to await rescue, and meanwhile on the surface of a heavy storm broke out, and in the cave where they sat, the water quickly began to rise. Does this sound made up to y'all? All right, I'm going to shut up. No judgment yet. Wisely, they sat down to wait a rescue. They sat down and waited for rescue. Meanwhile, on the surface, a heavy storm broke out. He began to run away from the water, and Harry grabbed at him, but slipped and hit his head on a rock. He found himself free of his body. As he recounts it, the cave that had been pitch dark was now eerily illuminated. In his new state, he knew the way out, and he drifted out through the entrance of the cave. A few moments later, he regained consciousness back in his body. Now, even in the dark and in rushing waters, he was able to guide Bucky through the maze of caves safely back to the entrance. Come on, man. Look, I know this has probably happened, or this could happen, but this sounds kind of made up. Let's read this case, though, and see. We'll see. Case number 2, Helga N. Helga N. lives in a flat in Munich. I started judging it after I heard the flashlights being called torches, yeah. She lives in a flat in Munich. A thalidomide baby. She does not have the use of her legs, and perhaps as a kind of compensation, Helga has the ability to spontaneously astral travel. Normally, her mother and father would be in the flat, but Helga convinced them that she would be all right with her friend Kathy, while the parents were skiing in the Bavarian Alps. She knew they would benefit by a brief time away from the responsibilities that stem from her handicap. Helga and Kathy were having a pleasant weekend when Kathy's mother called to say that her father had a stroke. Could Kathy come home, she urged, because the doctors did not expect him to last the night. So Kathy and Helga talked things over. Helga assured Kathy she would be quite all right, provided that Kathy helped her into bed. Kathy did this and rushed off to the father's bedside. During the night, fire broke out in a flat adjacent to Helga's. Thick, choking smoke soon woke Helga up. She coughed and cried out, but no one came. For the block of flats was built in solid German fashion, and sounds were not easily transmitted through the walls. Realizing her fate lay in her own hands, Helga astral projected herself and searched for someone who could be made aware of her plight. First, she went to Kathy, but Kathy was so wrapped up in the crisis at her home that Helga could not get her attention. Helga tried other people that she knew, but everywhere she turned, they seemed to be busy. Finally, she had an inspiration. She rushed back to Kathy's house and contacted Kathy's father as he lay there. With almost his last breath, he told Kathy of Helga's danger and urged her to rescue her helpless friend. Helga watched as Kathy got her coat and took the Strassenbahn streetcar to the block of flats where she gave Helga's earth plane life. Come on, man. That might have really happened, all right? That could have happened. This seems like something that I would see in like a TV show, right? She says, do these examples seem far-fetched? Yes, they do. I'm sorry, they do. But they are not. Our files contain hundreds of similar examples of people from all walks of life who have gained by learning to astral project. So whether you know it or not, you yourself lead a double life. The life that you live in the world where you earn your living is matched with a similar life you live on the other side of the invisible barrier that divides the astral world from the earth plane. Many people claim that they do not live in that mysterious other half of life and that they sincerely believe that they do not. By getting them to try these techniques spelled out in this book, we showed them that they do actually live in both worlds. Your life and the plane of existence where you are reading this information today may be chaotic or painful for you. But what is your life like in the astral? Upon examination, you may find that your astral life is near perfect. All you need to do is match your astral to your earth plane life to bring the perfection of your astral to the earth plane and overcome many of the everyday problems that you may have. She's talking about magic there, astral magic a little bit. It works the other way too. If your mundane life is unsatisfactory, but you can't work out why, you may find that you have some problems in the astral realms. Checking on the astral for problems is an essential part of any attempt to make your life serene and happy. All right, I'll go with that. This is like a sales pitch, man. It feels like a sales letter, though, doesn't it? Like one of those really long marketing sales letters before you buy something for $99.99. Astral projection will work for you. Do you dream? Of course you do. Do you daydream? Of course you do. So can you imagine yourself in a different place doing something different? Of course you can. So when you do these things, you're already doing all that will be required of you here. By simply extending your dream sequences and programming them, you'll be able to astral project. Many people do not realize how often dreams are actually astral projections. For that reason, and because the dream state is the easiest from which to astral project, we're going to digress for a few pages to discuss dreams. I'm kind of interested in this, though, because I've never done it from a dream state. I've just done it from like the state where I'm about to fall asleep, from the hypnagogic state. So, for example, you dreamed last night. You may not have any memory of the dreams you had, but modern research clearly shows that everyone dreams, whether you remember it or not. you dreamed. There are 2 basic reasons that may be preventing you from remembering them. 1, you're too tired to remember. So when you go to bed exhausted, you go into a deep sleep state, and in this state you dream, but the veil between the conscious and the unconscious mind is tightly drawn. The conscious mind is busy helping the body recover from its exhaustion and repairing tissues, and signals from the lower levels of the mind cannot be comprehended while the upper portions of the mind are preoccupied. Fuck out of here. Get out of here. Unexpected impressions can be a problem. Many people expect only to see pictures when they dream, but people don't dream in pictures. Instead, the impressions they get come like this. Sounds. This mode of dreaming is called auditory, and psychics refer to people who are open to sound messages as clairaudience. Smells. Oh, dude, I got a crazy example of that. I had a dream one night that I was like in Louisiana or something at this nasty roach hotel. I got it in my journal. I'll never forget it, actually. And this nasty dude came out and he like shit himself, right? And was laughing while he did it. And I could smell it. And when I smelled it in the dream, I thought I shit myself. I'm not playing. Like I thought, man, I did this. And I woke up. Obviously I made sure it wasn't me. It wasn't gas. It wasn't what you're thinking. This was like someone opened up a bottle of sulfur and put it to my nose. That's how bad it was. I never smelled anything that bad before, but I did in that dream. And I can still remember that dude's laugh. God, it was disgusting. I still don't know why that is. There's still like 4 or 5 things in my journal. I'm trying to work out what happened, but that was a very, very weird one. Smells, unusual as they may seem, it is a recognized mode of receiving dream impressions called nowadays olfactory. All right. So taste. Have you ever woken up with a bad taste in your mouth that's not related to overindulgence or something that you ate? The phrase left a bad taste in my mouth is the unwitting acknowledgement that people do, in fact, receive inputs through their sense of taste or tastation. And emotion, which is the biggest one, right? So when you first meet a person, even before so much as a handshake or a word has been exchanged, you have feelings about them. And when you enter a house, it can feel friendly or cold or may give you some other impressions. But occasionally you may awake with strong emotional feelings that something either good or bad is about to happen. This sensation is recognized and highly valuable method of dreaming. Yeah, I've had some of those too. I've heard... What's up, Jen? I've heard songs in dreams before that have were so deep that they almost made me cry. And then I woke up and there was no radio playing or anything. A lot of weird stuff that's happened in dreams. So I don't think it's the same thing as the out-of-body experience, but I guess they're getting to that. The notable missing sense in the list above is your sense of touch or tactician. So while you're sleeping, many outside environmental influences affect such things as the temperature of the room and the feel of the sheets against your body. And the Canterbury Institute research has shown that for this reason, tactician is not a reliable conveyor of dream information. Even though you may not see pictures or you're not voyant, you still dream. So whenever you awake with something on the surface of one of your senses that was not there when you went to sleep, it's most likely that this sensation is the result of your subconscious communicating to your consciousness in the sleep state. And the next part is there's no such thing as a bad dream. But we're at the top of the hour. We got to do the radio station thing. Barefoot Hippie says she's not vibing with the author. I'm not really vibing with the author either, but I'm much more interested in what they have to say about this stuff. Because I think a lot of this stuff is, at the very least, people's common impressions of astral travel, right? This book was written in the 80s. I am getting a very 80s vibe from it. It is astral travel, your guide to the secrets of the out-of-body experience. So when we come back, I guess we're going to get into this new occult frontier. That's what we're talking about, astral dreaming. But I hope by the end of the night, we get into this chapter that's called The Twilight Zone Astral Travel. That sounds cool, whatever the hell that is. If you want to call in and chime in too, you can at 501-777-5631. And, yeah, Please keep giving the feedback in the chat too. I'm with you on a lot of this stuff. I think we all kind of vibe the same about it. We'll be right back. Don't go anywhere. Quick break. You guys on the Fringe FM, stay with us too.
You're listening to Lighting the Void Radio.
Damn, that was a quick hour. Hey, can you grab that?
Intrigued by Paranormal Talk Radio? You'll love the new Paranormal Radio app from TalkStream Live. You'll find a great selection of talk shows covering UFOs, ghosts, strange phenomena, and much more. Download the Paranormal Radio app now and start listening to the very best in paranormal talk entertainment, including the network you're listening to right now, the Paranormal Radio app, free in Google Play and the iOS App Store.
So, you love talk radio? Then you'll love TalkStreamLive.com. TalkStream Live is always on, 24/7 with the best streaming talk shows. Find your favorite talkers and discover some new ones. It's free, readily available online or on mobile with any smartphone or tablet. Finding your favorite talk shows all in one place has gotten a whole lot easier. Just go to TalkStreamLive.com. Be sure to download the free apps from Google Play or the iTunes App Store.
Hey, this is country music singer and void walker Jason Benoit, and when I need my fix on the world of magic and the capabilities of the human consciousness, I listen to Joe Roop right here on Lighting the Void Radio.
What I know about courage, I learned from my adoptive mom. She said sometimes you just gotta hold on, and know we'll get through this. Mom, we are so high up. Hold my hand.
No, you hold my hand.
Here we go.
Learn about adopting a teen from foster care. You can't imagine the reward. Visit adoptuskids.org to find out more.
I learned patience from my adoptive dad. All he had to say was,
"Hey, you got this. Just breathe." Hey. We're pretty good.
Yeah.
Might have to start a band.
I got it.
Learn about adopting a teen from foster care. You can't imagine the reward. Visit adoptuskids.org to find out more. This message is brought to you by Adopt US Kids, the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, and the Ad Council.
My mother was always very active and independent, and she was familiar with her neighborhood. But one day, she stopped at the stop sign for much longer than usual. She wasn't even really sure where she was at.
It's important for you to talk to someone about it. I felt so much better after my son told me, "Mom, we'll figure it out."
When something feels different, it could be Alzheimer's. Now is the time to talk. Visit alz.org/ourstories to learn more.
Have you ever wondered, what do the stars say for me? Or will the next month or the next year be more favorable? How about, are our two signs compatible? Each month at the new moon, you can ask these questions live with me, your astrologer psychic, Mary DeCina, along with host of Lighting the Void, Joe Root. Join us at the new moon for Cosmic Conditions. We look forward to working with your energy.
Every new moon at 7 p.m. Pacific, 10 p.m. Eastern, right here on Fringe FM.
You're listening to Lighting the Void Radio.
All right, welcome back to Lighting the Void Radio here live on the Fringe FM. That's at www.fringe.fm. The call-in number is 501-777-5631 if you want to chime in. 501-777-5631, and we're talking about astral travel. This is some kind of crazy book from the 80s. Seems like we're getting seems like it's been like a sales pitch for astral travel so far, but it's enough to keep me enticed. It's enough to keep me interested in it. I found this on a I don't even know what the name of the website is. Because I was always interested in what the witches or Wicca's point of view is on this. So these are not all witches. Okay, these are Wiccans from the 80s. Let's put it that way. Music. Okay, so we're back into, she's saying there's no such thing as a bad dream. Remember the time that you woke up sweating and afraid and absolutely sure that it was going to get you. Did you hate that feeling? Did you hate that feeling, y'all? Did you hate it? Can you now understand the nightmare that it was a very serious attempt by your subconscious to communicate important guidance to you? Most people assume that unpleasant dreams are bad and pleasant dreams are good. This arbitrary categorization of dreams becomes meaningless when you realize that almost all dreams are directed by your own mind. Once you have overcome the emotion that the dream engendered into you, a weird word to say, you need to look for the dream's real message. What did the it that was after you really symbolize? Was it a friend concealing hatred and planning to do the dirty on you? Was it the bank manager who will be after you if you don't straighten out your financial problems? Was it your roommate whose actions threaten your sexuality or serenity? Okay, yeah, this was written by a girl, I think. I mean, she's kind of paranoid, right? The nightmare was trying to tell you something, and you need to decide what that something is. I agree with her on that, though. If you guys ever have a nightmare, you should face it, for sure. Conversely, you may have a lovely, lighthearted dream about running through a field of fragrant flowers, and suddenly you have to leave this pleasant place. There's no real pressure in the dream, but there's a sense of loss. You may not awake with any heavy emotional feeling. You may forget the dream quickly, yet this dream may have just as serious a message to communicate as the nightmare had. The important thing to remember is that no dream is random or meaningless. I don't know if I agree with that at all. In your search for serenity and a smooth path through life, every dream deserves equal consideration. Now, look, I've had some pretty profound dreams. I don't know about you, but I have. But I've also had dreams that were just junk. They seemed like they were just my brain trying to process something. Just junk. I hope that makes sense. I think that some dreams mean things, and sometimes it's just your brain doing junky stuff, So the guidance you receive from dreams is not limited to problem solving in your personal life. It can be used to solve any sort of problem, personal, mundane, or spiritual, that you're wrestling with. Successful executives always sleep on major decisions. Do they? Many famous inventors have used dreams to perfect their discoveries. So dream guidance is one way by which many unknown and relatively poor educated people really have become millionaires through unusual but important inventions. Isn't that what Terrence Howard said? He saw it in a dream when he was a kid, all that stuff he's talking about. Countless scientists give credit for some of their most spectacular discoveries to their dream messages. So it's well known that Thomas Edison slept in a chair in his lab so that he could immediately try out any ideas that he got from his dreams. Well, it's also well known, dear, that Thomas Edison pretty much stole a lot of people's inventions and said they were his too. So don't forget about that part. So the discoverer of the benzene ring, Professor Kugel, got the idea through a dream. Without his discovery, organic chemistry would not exist. So these cases are by no means isolated. The sewing machine, the DNA molecule, and the bicycle are all documented cases of dream discoveries. In many cases, this knowledge embodied ideas that were new to the inventor and to the world. Where did this knowledge come from? It is the firm belief of both the writers and the researchers at the Canterbury Institute that the knowledge came from the astral realm. Work at the Institute has shown that once you have your mundane life ordered and serene, you can begin using your sleep time to answer any question that you may have, no matter to what it applies. What about if your life isn't in order or serene? Can you not get any answers then? So neurosurgeons have long known that in daily living you use only a small percentage of your mind's capacity. Your mind is a miraculous problem solver, one whose capabilities are only just being comprehended. It is far better at solving your problems than is a giant computer or an outside counselor. You have within you what is sometimes called your own indwelling sage, and that sage is your brain. It has more information stored in its memory banks than you can possibly realize. So you've heard, no doubt, of how hypnosis can unlock the memories that are deep within the mind. So similarly, during sleep, you can get in touch with all those levels of memory where everything you have ever seen or learned is stored. The material that you have stored in your mind does not necessarily correlate with the way you received your education. And every day as you walk around, your senses pick up information. And often this information is absorbed at subliminal, below conscious awareness level. Even though you may have done badly at school and never passed a single exam in your life, within your brain, all the scholastic knowledge you were ever exposed to is still stored. Y'all believe that? I don't know if I believe that. When you start asking your mind to answer specific questions during sleep, you're harnessing the power of your total consciousness. You take charge of what you're going to dream about. You request information and help, and your mind gives you the answers or shows you how to obtain the information you've requested. Because you have placed it in the upper levels of your consciousness, the one thing your mind cannot do is ignore your request until the request is fulfilled. Your subconscious cannot communicate any other information to you. That is bullshit. Bullshit. You know how many times I've even did prayers and asked my consciousness, please answer this question for me. Can you please give me the answer to this question? And it didn't do anything, or I don't even remember the dream, or had a dream that had absolutely nothing to do with it, no matter how much I examined it. I think we're getting a little too foo-foo here, but maybe I'm wrong. So when your mind does not have the answers that you need, it will direct your consciousness to a place where such an answer can be obtained. There's a whole realm of knowledge and wisdom that you're able to tap, and sometimes that realm is called the universal consciousness or universal unconscious. Scientifically oriented people tend to call it the great computer in the sky. Children refer to it as a fairy godmother. So knowledge of the realm's existence is universal, though mostly unmentioned. You can get answers to questions from this realm through your direct consciousness in this way. Answer questions whose solutions you could have no possible way of knowing. And such problem solving clearly shows that you can communicate with sources of information which are beyond those within your own mind. When you urgently need an answer to a question, part of you, the part we call the spirit, detaches itself from your body and travels independently to find the answers you need. Such independent travel and finding of answers to problems or questions that you have no knowledge of is simple, straightforward. Astral projection. Sounds like dream journal. It just sounds like dream exploration to me so far, dear. I'm just saying. Many cases of it have been well documented by impartial observers. In the 18th century, Dr. Swedenborg in Gothenburg, Sweden, reported the minute-by-minute progress of a disastrous fire in Stockholm, 300 miles away. And as a result of this experience, Swedenborg taught others how to astral project, in fact, formed a new worldwide church, all of whose ministers have astral projection ability. All right, this sounds like remote viewing to me. Let's keep going, though. We're going to uncover a jewel here. In the USA, as recently as April of 1980, there was a documented film report on NBC television of a girl who accurately described the interior of a house in California, even though she had never visited the state or met the people who lived in the house. Moreover, this 12-year-old girl was blind. As in Helga's case, astral travel is a compensation for her disability. It's a commercial so far. So extending your life with astral travel. In today's world, when you sleep, you're assumed to be wasting your time. After all, it looks as if you're lying there accomplishing nothing. Yet without sleep, you would become irritable, then ill, and finally you would die. So you must have sleep. Thank you, Miss Obvious. Now, though, you can use that sleep time, extending your life from this plane of existence into a totally new, better reality. A place where you can be active while you sleep and can have more fun than you do here. Say that you are confined to a wheelchair or that you have to stay in bed for some reason. There's nothing to stop you from going into a reality that is just as valid as this one and exploring the realm on the other side. As you proceed into this other reality, you will find that it is populated with people just as the plane is. See, this sounds like astral travel to me. Is she going to cover how to do magic in the astral? I think so. Some of the people are beautiful and friendly, and some are ugly and unpleasant. And in the astral reality, however, it is easier to avoid the negative beings than it is in the earth plane, for they make themselves known very clearly by their muddy-colored auras. You can have a whole life on the other side. And the first time you make love in the astral, you'll be amazed at how satisfying and completing that melding experience is. Afterwards, you may be haunted by the lack of completion you feel in making love on this plane. That's so sad. Why don't you try bringing both of them together, like tapping into your spiritual person when you're making love to the person you claim to love, and maybe it wouldn't be that unsatisfying. Just a thought. I don't know. Look, I've done all this stuff in the astral she's talking about. I've been attacked sexually in the astral realm when I was younger, and I don't think any of it's super, like, I don't know, man. There's nothing that tops sex in this realm. Not in the astral. Not yet. I haven't found it. It's one of the reasons why the Creator created bodies to begin with. But this person is an astral fanatic, it sounds like. So you will learn to make the earth plane time meaningless and enter other realities that exist at higher levels of development than the one to which you normally go. You can range over cosmic distances in the blink of an eye. You can do it now. Sit now and think of yourself and go into the moon. Feel the cold, see the loneliness, look at the jagged craters, and listen to the silence. Your mind travels faster than any future starship ever will. Indeed, the range of your astral self is limited only by what you will it to. So your astral traveling self can go anywhere and can do anything. Before you go to bed tonight, decide where you would like to go on your very first planned trip. Write down the place, and in most cases, you will visit it while you sleep. She makes it sound so freaking easy. Are any of you guys, I'm going to try some of the stuff she's saying tonight, even though I already know what's going to happen. I'm going to try it. Visit the past, present, and future. All right, we're getting into time travel now. Astral travel extends the scope of your life, and even today when you're free of your body and dreams, you can have experiences that in other circumstances would be considered beyond credibility. You can be a king in his palace or a sheik in a harem. You can make love to the most beautiful woman in the world, or as the queen of all you survey, you can be courted by the most romantic and attractive man. It is possible to imagine. Whether you're rich or poor, I can sit around and think about this stuff, though, too. You realize that, so. What's up, Sylvain? Whether you're rich or poor, you can travel in time to see the past and the future. This is like that old magical stuff. If you just think it, man, it just happens, you know. You can go at no cost to any place in the cosmos. We will also teach you to travel into other realms and realities beyond the known cosmos, realms impossible to reach without this training. You can bring back knowledge about the future and about other ways that will be of inestimable benefit to you in your present life. Don't say it. With the aid of the astral little people. What? With the aid of the astral little people, for little people really do exist, you will become able to find that proverbial pot of gold at the end of the rainbow. The age, upbringing, education, all totally irrelevant. Although we have found that it's slightly more difficult for a white Christian to accomplish all that others can. This difficulty is so easily overcome by the Institute's techniques as to be almost non-existent. If you devote a few of those Sundays you would normally spend in church to the practice of these techniques, you will find that you can accomplish just as much as any other citizen of the world. All right, Christians, did you hear that? So if you skip church on Sunday, you can go get a pot of gold in the astral realm. What's up, Sudi? Man. All right. Some of that stuff. Honestly, this is why a lot of people don't believe in the out-of-body experience, you know, because you'll read this kind of stuff and you're like, yeah, okay. All right, so calm your fears with astral travel. So many people are afraid that you'll meet harmful boogeymen or strange monsters on the other side of the barrier. Those fears are totally groundless. I don't think this person has actually astral traveled. Yes, you will meet some odd-looking characters from time to time, but they cannot harm you. Come, have you ever considered whether a ghost or spirit can be harmed? It just isn't possible. No more can you be harmed when you're traveling the astral realms. Once you know what the other side of the barrier is really like, you will no longer fear such things as death or spirits. Then you will gain tremendous serenity and calm. So in summary, exploring astral realms is not only safe, it is almost rewarding. From the safety of your own home, you can visit any location you wish, and the places you visit are limited only by your own desires. The knowledge you gain from your travels will not only aid you in your immediate present life, but will also give you greater understanding of the underlying reasons why things happen as they do. You may often have asked yourself, why am I alive, or what am I doing here? As soon as you complete the astral travel exercises here in this book, you'll have your own answers to these ageless questions, questions that the wisest philosophers have sought to answer for centuries. When you astral travel, you will infinitely expand your knowledge of the cosmic realities which all exist. Dude, I'm calling bullshit on some of this stuff. First off, let's just be honest here. We don't know that it's completely safe in the astral realm. Most of the time it is. And yes, most of the time the stuff that you run into that freaks you out, you can deal with it on your own if you just change your perception, right? The second thing, like that it's safe. For the most part, it is safe. But there's no way of knowing that if somebody left their body and didn't come back, they can't come back to tell us. And how many people have died in their sleep? Just died. No one knows why. It's a lot of people. So I think there's a podcast called Mysterious Universe where this person was told his roommates that he was going to go astral travel and do this stuff. Not trying to freak y'all out or anything. And that he didn't come out of his room for a long time. And that when he did come out of his room, he never came out of his room, and his roommates went in there and found him in like some kind of prayer position, and he had passed away. So, all I'm saying is the out-of-body experience, and my experience is real. It's real. It's pretty safe. You are going to meet some stuff that might freak you out if you do explore it enough. But this person's making it seem like it's Disneyland, you know. All right. Let's skip to something, because she's going to talk about astral dreaming again, which I think we just talked about that. You're not dead. Piercing the astral veil, to sleep, to dream, to astral travel. Making things come true. All right, here we go. Twilight Zone astral travel. This is what I wanted to read. So now that you know that you've been astral traveling every night that you sleep, you'll want to enter the state without being woken up in the middle of the night to record random visits to the astral realms. So we're going to show you how to do this consciously through the hypnagogic dreamlet state that occurs when you first put the lights out and continue into your first astral trip in a conscious rather than an unconscious manner. All right, this is something I can actually speak on here. Controlling your astral travels. So the natural, easy way to astral travel is in the semi-dream state, because this is the way you have already tripped out. You need to learn very little to change from passively remembering your trips to going out on command. During the early phases of the work, you should try to aim your trips to the pre-existent here-now world, for this is the world with which you are most familiar, the world in which you will feel comfortable. When you have a nightmarish dream, you remember it because it scared you. In order to scare you, it had to be meaningful. It had to occur in a real world where you could feel the genuineness of the threat. Most failures to remember astral trips occur because the subject can remember only thought-like, vague experiences that were not significant enough to be memorable. If you deliberately limit your travels to the here and now, you can expect to have meaningful astral experiences, and remembering these will be easy. Okay. So having an urgent problem that you need to solve today further programs your consciousness into projecting itself into the here and now. So, such pre-programming of a mundane problem lends that necessary urgency to the whole procedure. Thus, the first steps in any successful astral travel experiments are, number 1, the programming of the place that you want to go, and number 2, the solving of an urgent problem in your life, and the answer to which is in the here and now. This pre-programming will propel you through what we call Gateway 1 of astral travel. Additionally, you have to be physically protected or have that mysterious astral helper called a guide to take you into the astral. If any of these basic essentials is missing, you will not be able to project on command. What? I don't know about that. Your pentagram of astral readiness. So when you begin deliberate preparation for your first remembered astral trip, there are many things you can do to help. I detach from me. These are summarized in this figure as a simple pentagram of readiness. The pentagram shows these essentials. What figure? What page am I on? 26? What? I don't think. I'll show you guys this thing in a minute. It's just a pentagram. At the top, it says time. On one of the left hands, it says urgent necessity. On the right hand of the pentagram, it says sex. On the bottom right, it says environment and diet. And on the left, it says emotion. There's some weird stuff. Man. All right. So number 1, urgent necessity. This is the meaningful task that you have set for your astral consciousness. You can help the I get to an urgent necessity by using a symbol, so long as it represents your necessity. You may use any symbol you like, money, food, anything. So if you're looking for a lover, you would use a photograph or even a drawing of the type of person that you seek. Write on the back of the picture any other characteristics that you would like in that person, such as age, wealth, intelligence, and all these other details that will be important for you in the future. You can tell this girl's a gold digger. Age was first and wealth was number 2. No dude's going to write that down for girls. How rich is she? Emotion, number 2. So this is her pentagram. Emotion, number 2. Emotion is one of the bases on which the pentagrams rest. Where astral travel is concerned, the most damaging emotion is fear. I agree with that. If you are in any way afraid of what might happen, your I will not leave your body, even though I has left many times before. So if you have fear when you try consciously to project, your I or you will not be able to leave. There is absolutely nothing to fear in the astral that we know of. Haven't found anything yet. No student of ours has ever come to any harm by taking astral trips. Though you probably are only dimly aware of them, you yourself have already taken thousands of trips. So why should you do this astral trip, this planned trip, or hold any fear? Other emotions, less inhibiting but helpful ones, nonetheless, can prevent you from getting out. Anger is the chief among these. If you're violently angry and are going out to wreak your vengeance on somebody, this too will tend to keep you in the mundane body. Not sad in chest, no sag in behind 3, not crazy, puts up with my jokes. Is that your list? Not sad? Not sad, no sag in the behind. What? Not crazy, puts up with my jokes. Well, that's easier than they need to be young, and they need to treat me like a princess, and they need to be rich, and kind of like that guy in 50 Shades of Grey, yeah. Sorry, I'm going to go on a tangent here. If you are violently angry and are going out to wreak your vengeance on someone, this too will tend to keep you in the mundane body. Well, no shit. I don't know anybody. No sag in the chest. I got you. Good luck with that, dude. It doesn't matter how beautiful of a girl that you date, bro. Like if you if you want to grow old with him, not saying that you do, that's going to happen eventually. Just saying. You might want to consider falling in love with something other than just physical features. That's pretty helpful. Feelings of serenity, feelings of optimistic expectations of well-being are the ones which you should concentrate on, so I can more readily separate from me. Okay, so, I agree with her on this. And, if you're pissed off or you got some kind of crazy emotion going on, you're not going to get out of body. And even when you do get out of body, if you're not tranquil, the moment you start giving into astonishment or you get super excited, like I did, oh man, I'm out of body. This is so cool. That stuff it's something about not being balanced emotionally keeps you from going anywhere. What's up, Dragon Rose? Don't forget tall. Oh yeah, they need to be tall, dark, handsome, just like the guy from 50 Shades of Grey, and rich. Every time. I won't accept anything less. I'm not settling. Okay, make sure you're looking in the mirror before you say all this stuff. Environmental conditions. So we don't know the reasons that make the following conditions work best, but they are the result of thousands of trial and error astral projections. In early trials, we recommend you adhere as closely as possible to these ground rules. Minor changes may make things go better for you, but once you've learned to project on a regular basis, you should experiment with modifying conditions slightly. A. Security. Make sure you will not be interrupted by anything. Friends, phone calls, pets, children. Lock yourself into your practice area. I agree, but don't lock yourself into a room. B. Posture. Lie comfortably on your back with a small pillow under your head, keeping the spine straight with head to the east. It is best not to lie on an interior sprung mattress. The metal in it seems to interfere with the work. I don't know about that. Once you're comfortable, don't move. C. Temperature. For most people, it's around 72 to 74. That seems to be ideal. And since the body should be unbound, preferably nude, a light blanket of wool or cotton may be required. Yeah, getting naked will help. That's about as most comfortable you can get. It's if you're naked with some cotton, maybe some Egyptian cotton or silk sheets or something, then you might want to lock the door. D. Bindings and magnetic noise. Remove all body bindings, hair clips. I told you it was a girl. Hair clips, jewelry, everything. Obviously, if you have something attached that is unless it's medical, like you have to keep it on your body. You don't need to remove it if it's medical. There should be no electrical wires or extension cords near you. This is a pretty interesting fact, right? Like, I think I was talking to this to Anthony about this the other day. Anthony Tyler. Like, there's people that experiment with like copper pyramids and copper rooms and all kinds of stuff when they astral travel. And when you read Robert Monroe's books, metal and like wires and stuff like that did affect a lot of stuff that he was doing, actually. E, light intensity. The room should be in almost total darkness. After you have been in the room for 10 minutes, you should be able to pick out dimly the major articles of furniture. This can be achieved by placing a small shielded candle in the room or through the use of a night light. Sudi says, getting naked helps with everything. Damn right it does. But listen, this whole making sure everything's completely dark, I don't know if I agree with that. When I got out of body, I had the lamps on. But I can sleep. I can sleep with the sun out. I can sleep with noise. So if you're the kind of person that can't relax unless it's completely dark or barely candlelit, then yeah, do that. F, noise. Try for a quiet time. That's kind of obvious too. Though there will be inevitably be some noises, do not try mentally to block them out or drown them out with music. If you mentally block out noises or cover them up, you may inadvertently block out the guidance that you're trying to receive. Additionally, music has emotional overtones which will later come through in your trip. Try to identify the noise, make sure it poses no threat, then simply try to forget it. If you live in a large town, we recommend you tune your radio to a short wave band and turn it up so that it quietly hisses. That's not a bad idea, actually. That hiss will cover most background noises. Apart from this, you should have no sound in the room at all. For if you are clairaudient, any external sounds may cover up the messages. Also, in the rare cases where your psychic awareness takes the forms of olfactory reception through your sense of smell, you should not use any kind of scents or incense because this too will cover up the odors that you should become aware of. I could say I agree with most of that. All right, so G, diet. Heavy meals before the attempts to astral travel should be avoided. They will induce heavy slumber and typical nightmare ordeals. If you do not have any urgent need, you can fast before astral projection and create in yourself an urgent need for food. Then you'll find yourself automatically traveling to the nearest refrigerator, for the astral will be driven by the hunger of the mundane. Yeah, that can happen for sure. The astral self cannot eat the food in the refrigerator, but it does seem to gain some sustenance from living foods as freshly picked greens and eggs. The exact mechanism by which food is energy transferred is still on the fringes of occult knowledge. It's not. It's a part of alchemy. A small but growing number of students report that travel is made easier by a meal of 2 eggs, a small steak, and a fresh green salad just before the attempt. There you go, man. Like, so if you want to astral travel, just eat some steak and eggs and a salad and you're good. The most preferred situation we find is to be neither hungry nor overfed, but content. My uncle slept in a pyramid over his bed, not sure if it helped. Should ask him. Number 4, sex. Many people, through circumstances or upbringing, are sexually deprived. Well, it might not be their upbringing. They probably might not be able to get laid, or they don't want to sleep with somebody just because their body wants to sleep with somebody. That's a weird thing to say, isn't it? Number 4, sex. Many people, through circumstances or upbringing, are sexually deprived. That's subjective, by the way. You will find that when you enter the astral frustrated, you will have overwhelming lustful feelings. Oh yeah, don't go into the astral realm extremely horny, because that's all you're going to care about when you get there. That's a fact. I agree with her on that. These insistent feelings of lust instantly draw you back to your mundane body where they can be gratified. So at first, it is very difficult to comprehend that these urgent bodily needs can be fulfilled by a transfer of energy between yourself and an astral consciousness of the opposite sex. But once you recognize that all sexual needs can be satisfied in the astral realm, you'll be able to stay in your astral body. That's kind of true, actually. Monroe talks about that too. So this is actually the same sort of energy transfer that is obtained from handling food in the astral. You can fulfill a need for food on the astral by handling real mundane world food. So in a similar way, you can fulfill your sexual needs on the astral without actually making physical love. Now look, I've done both. I prefer the physical any day of the week, even though the astral stuff is pretty cool. What's really cool is if you can do both at the same time. Good luck finding somebody that's even remotely aware of that. If you have a well-adjusted sex life, this problem will probably not occur. So once you have learned to get sexual gratification on the astral, the lure of astral sex can become a potent driving force that separates I from me. You know, Monroe used to have this problem, and it was a problem when you read his first books. So there's this level in the astral realm that you get to that has a ton of sexual energy that he just couldn't seem to get past, and he kept getting approached by like these, I guess, female entities, whatever. It's probably somebody else out of their body or whatever. So in order to get past it, I think he said he tried to make love to his wife one night, and that didn't work because when he still went out, it was still there. And so in order to get past it, he would almost like tell the other person or this realm, like, we'll do this, kind of like, I'll do this, but I got to do something first. So it's kind of like giving your partner a kiss and saying, I'll be right back. Somehow or another, he was able to get past that, you know, that place in the astral realm by doing that. Of course, it probably left a lot of people pissed off or astrally sexually frustrated, right? Eat keto and explore. There you go. Incubus and succubus. Yeah, that too. Alice on the Moon said, us old hippies used to drop Orange Sunshine and listen to the Moody Blues to astral travel. What's up, Cosmic? Yeah, I think that would be... I'd love to eat some sunshine acid. That'd be awesome. All right, here we go. Time. The twilight zone between waking and sleeping that occurs when you first go to bed is the best time to attempt conscious astral travel. Yes, twilight. I agree. In the evening, somewhere between 10 and 11 p.m., while you're listening to Lighting the Void, is the best time to prepare for your work. All you have to do is go through your pentagram of preparation, then try to stay in the twilight zone between waking and sleeping for as long as possible. That is the key. That is definitely the key. She's right about that. Immediately after the light's out, you'll be aware of falling into a light dream state. And this is the hypnagogic state. It will last anywhere from 10 to 20 minutes. You are awake while this is occurring. So the difficult part comes at the end of the hypnagogic period. Try to prolong your wakefulness into the time after me falls asleep. In other words, try to take away the consciousness barrier between waking and sleeping. With a little practice, you'll find that you can accomplish this. 100% agree. The first time you try it, you may think, well, I did not sleep, but you'll get up from the bed fully refreshed. This proves conclusively that your body did indeed sleep and that you have successfully accomplished your first dramatic step towards the ultimate experience of astral travel. Here's your guide to the Twilight Zone astral projection. I like that name for it, but it's really just a hypnagogic state. So review now the preceding paragraph and make sure your defined need is firmly implanted in your mind. Make sure that when you lie down, you're not so tired that you'll immediately lose your resolve and drift past the hypnagogic period into sleep. The easiest way to do this is to lie still and form an astral twin of yourself immediately above your recumbent body. Start to lift the twin out of me. Never heard of this one before. This is kind of weird. It is as light as steam rising from a gently heated swimming pool. Imagine that steam is rising slowly from every pore of your body, and as it rises, gradually forms your astral twin. And as soon as you've achieved this small disassociation, you can relax. Most probably, you will now drop back into your body. Try it again, and this time, Wheel yourself up away from your body into the ceiling corner of your room and visualize yourself in the ceiling corner, looking back at your mundane body lying on the bed. When you've achieved this, try separating the I from your astral twin by imagining yourself at the place at which you will receive the answer to the questions you've asked. Most people can easily accomplish this, but if you can't, don't worry. You can astrally travel in your twin without separating from I from it. So what she's calling the twin, what's up, Ava? What she's calling the twin, I think, is the etheric double. So it's just like you in this ghost form. But you can separate from that too. I like to walk around as a ghost. It's cool. Float around, whatever. The only thing that worries me that she's bullshitting a little bit is that she hasn't even talked about the vibrational state yet. And if you're talking about that state, you should have felt some kind of vibration or hum or something. She'll probably talk about it. Your astral signal. Our studies show that in a few instances before astral separation, a signal phenomenon occurs. In many cases, this takes form of a vibration. Okay. And the upper chest and head. And in other cases, the level of light in the room seems to suddenly get brighter. Some students hear a hiss or a rush of air. Yep. These three signals phenomena are the most common, though this does not mean that they are the only sorts possible. We've had reports of literally hundreds of different signals. So maybe I'm being too vague or too... Maybe I'm not open-minded enough about the vibrational state, because it sounds like other people just, they don't vibrate or hum like I do. According to her, they have like bright flashes and stuff. It has been found best to imagine your eyes looking intently at the source of the signal, wherever it may be. Once you have astral projected a few times, you'll recognize your signal phenomenon. And by deeply relaxing when it happens, you'll be able to leave your body more easily and consistently. I think that's probably the truest thing that she said in this whole guide. Because the one time I actually popped out into my etheric double, I was way more relaxed than I was all of the other previous times. I thought I was relaxed before. But this time, not only was I relaxed, but I just did not care if it worked. I got to that point where like, look, I'm just going to keep doing this until it works. So it didn't matter if it worked or not. So I would say totally relaxed like she's talking about, but also totally kind of just whatever. You know, you don't care too much that it happens too. What is Cosmic Samurai asking? What's up, Joe? Just tuning in. Oh no, this isn't the Mystical Kabbalah. This is we're done with that. This is a 1980s book on astral projection. All right, so next is the cord and the guide. Your astral lifeline and guardian. In the astral planes, I'll leave a link to this book. It's different. So here, let me go up to it one more time to tell you guys. You may want to grab it. It's it's a book from the 80s. Page 30. Astral Travel. Your guide to the secrets of the out-of-body experience by Gavin and Yvonne Frost. Yvonne spelled with a Y. Published in 82. That's all right, Ava. I would say the same thing, too, if I just jumped in here, because I've been reading the Mystical Kabbalah for like 2 or 3 weeks, so I get it. All right, so the cord and the guide, your astral lifeline and guardian. In the astral planes dwell beings we call guides. Guides are people like you and me, with one major difference. They are between incarnations and do not have bodies. The guide that is assigned to you will have a similar racial background and similar interest in ideas of behavior. His or her function is to sponsor, protect, and instruct the astral traveler. So in your first conscious efforts as an astral traveler, you may feel helping hands guiding you out of your body and around the neighborhood. And these first attempts, you may not actually see your astral guardian, but he or she is there. Man, I bet that was that weird Rorschach looking thing, man. One of the reasons that you sometimes cannot astral travel, no matter how hard you try, is that your guide is not nearby. In accident situations and when you are put under anesthetic, you can be mechanically projected from your body despite the absence of your guide. So it's possible in such cases for your body to become possessed. Wait a minute now, I thought you said it was safe. Now you're saying we can become possessed? That is why we often find partial possessions in people who have undergone surgery and who have been involved in accidents. The techniques we have described so far only work when your guides are present. You should not be disappointed if you occasionally try the techniques and they seem not to work. This failure to work is an inherent projection for you. It is not because of anything you have done or have omitted to doing. If you did not project, your body would be left unguarded while you traveled around in the astral. So what? So like our astral guides take smoke breaks or something? I'll be right back. I'm going to go have an astral cigarette. And then you just can't get out of body? So similarly, when you're traveling in the astral here and now, you may see trailing behind you a glowing silken web-like thread. I've never seen that. This is AKA the cord, as the Huna of Hawaii call it, which maintains the connection between I and your body while me lies comfortably and securely at home. This thread of consciousness is usually not visible to the astral traveler in the spiritual realms, and sometimes it's not visible in the here and now. Might be why I haven't seen it. Nevertheless, there is a strong connection between the astral entity and the mundane. If anything at all threatens your body, if an intruder comes into the house or the building catches fire or anything happens to pose a threat, a message is passed faster than light along that thread, and the very next instant you're back in your body fully conscious and in control of it. Occasionally on these very rapid recalls, you will feel jolted. At one instant, you may be conversing amicably in the astral, and the next instant, you're just back in your body. When you're suddenly dragged back, it takes a moment to readjust to your new surroundings. Do not hasten the adjustment. Allow nature to take its course. Lie there and take 2 or 3 deep breaths before you try to get up. Otherwise, you may feel giddy and stumble. This is starting to sound real now. You know, actually. The whole other stuff was like a freaking sales pitch. So you may have had this experience when walking suddenly in the middle of the night. It is caused by the astral self not quite being in perfect control of the mundane, by I not quite fitting back properly into me. You don't fit back into your body properly, I guess. A couple of deep breaths, though, will ensure that everything is fitted properly together again. Another sensation occasionally experienced is that of a heavy laden limbs. So on the astral, your limbs are so light and so easy to control that when you come back to your body, if you don't spend a moment adjusting, you'll have difficulty in moving the physical weight of the body. It seems as if people, when jolted back, do not get their astral and mundane heads together and experience that giddy sensation, and others do not get their astral and mundane limbs together and they experience the leaden limb phenomenon. This does not occur when you are awakened by the timing device you use to remember your A-state trips because you were expecting the soft music to occur. What? It was no shock to you. Hadn't had that happen. Probably does happen, though. Is that kind of like when you wake up in the middle of the night and you go to the bathroom and your leg is asleep? I must be getting old. I had to put my hand on the wall and piss one night because my leg was asleep. I had to. Does that ever happen to you? Like when I was young, this kind of stuff didn't happen. Maybe it's a circulation thing, or I was like, got to pee really, really bad. Get up out of bed, run to the bathroom, but you can't. Your leg's so numb you can't feel it. Right? So you got to kind of brace yourself. I don't know. I'm just trying to find something to relate to here. Is it annoying to find that sometimes you're unable to astral travel at the instant you want to? It's so annoying. Pisses me off. It is equally annoying when you are in the middle of some indescribable pleasure-giving situation to be jerked back to the mundane. Yeah, that sucks. Maybe you should be doing those indescribable pleasure-giving situations in the mundane so you don't have to go to... I got a feeling this girl, she's hinted 3 or 4 times that she's sexually frustrated, so she's going into the astral realm. Just talk to your partner and do it, man, or like get a new one. These are safeguards built into the astral travel experience. If they were not thus built in, your body could be harmed in your absence. What? How could it be harmed? You should therefore welcome these annoyances, for they are sure indications that everything in your astral travel technique is working the way it should. I think she should have explained that. When you sit on the toilet so long, you can't walk when you stand up. Yeah. That's when you know you're getting old, dude. Okay, hold on. I got to read this again. Is it annoying to find that sometimes you're unable to astral travel at the instant you want to? What? I want to astral travel right now while I'm on the air. Damn it, I can't do it. I'm so annoyed. What are you talking about? It is equally annoying when you're in the middle of some indescribable, pleasure-giving situation to be jerked back to the mundane. Pleasure-giving situation, not receiving, huh? These are safeguards built into the astral experience. If they were not thus built in, your body could be harmed in your absence. Okay, I guess what she's saying is like when your consciousness or when your astral body's out doing whatever, if something's going on with your body and you get jerked back, it's for a good reason. It's a safeguard. And everything is working the way it's supposed to in the astral. So no big deal. Lastly, I don't think this is lastly, but your thoughts control your experiences. So when you first consciously astral travel, it is natural to get excited and lose your sense of purpose. Yeah, I did that. Guilty. Many people traveling for the first time in the astral become embarrassed because they discover that most astral entities and themselves are unclothed. I didn't even notice. I don't even think I looked. This can be compared to a first-time visit to a nudist camp. So you're afraid that everyone's looking at you, and you spend a lot of time earnestly not looking at even those desirable examples of the opposite sex who are so fully revealed. I didn't see anybody naked in the astral realm. I'm starting to get a little jealous of this lady's experiences. I'm just saying. After several visits, you can overcome such self-consciousness and realize that underneath, most people are pretty much built alike. On the astral, if you're uncomfortable in the nude, all you have to do is will that your astral self be clothed, and instantly and magically you're clothed. So you can travel anywhere you want by willing it. And many people try to navigate to a specific destination by walking along streets or flying over towns. That's the fun thing to do, is fly. You can easily get lost in such attempts and be forced to come back along your thread to your body and reorientate yourself and start again. I'm starting to think that she's really astral traveled now. Because look, if you start, this is true too, because I did this. Like if you want to go somewhere, like one time I wanted to go up to the fire station at the top of the hill. Easy enough, right? I've walked there and driven by it so many times. But if you go in the air and you've never been in the air and you're looking down over everything and you don't know what that looks like, the tops of everything is totally different. You get like disorientated pretty easy. You may return a blurred impression of flying through houses, through buildings, even through mountains or over them, but the actual route seems to be very close to a straight line. The route is unimportant. What matters is that you have willed yourself somewhere and you have instantly gone there. So she's saying, look, instead of trying to fly there yourself because you think you know where it is, just will yourself there. And the will pull you towards it or take you there. Preston said he had clothes on. Preston would have clothes on. I need to talk to that cat. It's been a minute. Next time I go astral traveling, I'm doing it damn naked, though. If this is real, I'm going to see if it's real. A sidelight on this phenomena is that the closer you get to your body, the stronger its pull is on you. That's legit. It feels like a freaking magnet. If you wish to make an astral trip to see what is going on in the next room, you must make it a quick trip, for you will be very lucky if you can remain there more than a few moments. In contrast, if you wish to visit someone in the next town, you can probably stay with them for a half an hour or so. Trips of up to an hour have been reported by members of the Institute, though such trips are relatively few. The majority of trips seem to last about half an hour, and this should be adequate to fulfill any necessity you may have. As you progress in the astral travel, techniques and need for urgency is lessened, and you will find you can get out of body and just drift. And during these trips, you can learn to fly like an aircraft around the countryside or walk slowly down a street. And these skills are not important to the astral traveler, and you should postpone learning them until you're proficient at just leaving the body. Dude, I want to keep reading this. This is interesting. I love this stuff. But sadly, the show is over for tonight. But do you guys want to continue with this? Because the next part is your Spring of Truth, Beauty and the Beast. She's going to get into grimoires and magic and all this other stuff. This is going to be far more entertaining than the mystical Kabbalah, I can tell you that. I've never heard anybody say that they were naked in the astral ever. Usually the opposite. Yeah, I think this woman, she's talked about sex 3 or 4 times. I think one of her biggest reasons for going in the astral is pleasure principles. No judgment. I just think for her to bring it up that much, that's probably why she's doing it. Yes, continue tomorrow, Cosmic Samurai says, until they say, oh, that's not a belt. Cool lecture, Joe. I don't know if it's much of a lecture. It's just me reading a book. I don't think Jess is on tonight. Jess, you still there? You're on Tuesdays and Thursdays, right? Anyways, we'll be back tomorrow night. I'll keep this thing going. If you guys want a one-on-one reading with me, they're 70% off right now. We're doing the summer sale. Click the Calendly link or get it in the shop. You'll get an hour one-on-one with me, face-to-face, unless you're nervous, and then I'll just record it for an hour, and it'll be a Golden Dawn spread. So far, it's been great. Everybody's enjoyed them. I had a couple of hiccups because I don't own a cell phone at the moment. That's right. I don't own a damn cell phone. So I need to take pictures of some of these readings, and I can't do it with a 10-year-old tablet. So for those people, I apologize. I'll work something out with you. But that's the only hiccups that we've had. It's been really cool. I think I've done 12 to 13 readings so far, and I've gotten to meet all of you are so, like, really cool people. You can get more than one, too. All right. Summer sale's up. It's still going on, even though I don't know how much longer I'm going to do it. We got to get out of here. I'll be reading this book tomorrow night. It's pretty fun, right? I think it's fun. Good night, y'all. Sweet dreams. Love you. Night, night.
You're listening to Lighting the Void Radio.